he is going to...
Oh, yeah. Intro time.
Hey guys, it's Chris, and I'm back with Val from Geek. And we are continuing our Game of Thrones Season 8 prediction series with John and Danny this time. So John will be here on my channel, and Danny will be over on Val's channel. And I guess we'll start with a little recap as usual. Val, I don't know, did you want to do the recap? Or
No, just go for it.
Okay. I just making sure. The last we saw John, he was riding the dragon north on a boat. Essentially.
Wow.
Okay. But yes. No, he had. They had went to the meeting, and in King's Landing, the dragon pit, had the meeting. Cersei lied. Tyrion got her to agree to something, and they headed back to Dragonstone and decided they needed to be seen together. Is that right? Because Jorah, you should.
Yeah, not in the same boat. No, that does.
Yeah. Take different boats at least. Yeah. But yeah. So anyway, they're headed to White Harbor to go to the north. So of course we've seen the teaser or the trailer now, and we know that in episode 1 they do arrive in Wintertown and Winterfell. They are going to meet the Stark family, and we see a bunch of reunions coming.
So many reunions. First of all, Arya and Jon, right? Is this gonna happen at Wintertown?
I don't know. Yeah, we talked about this before with the Arya video. I think they need their own separate thing. So I don't know if they would stop in Wintertown.
Yeah, that's kind of odd. I mean, like, she's already there, but
they're there because you see in the trailer they're marching through the streets on past it. So I don't think they're gonna stop there. Arya is obviously there. Maybe she doesn't show herself to Jon or something. I don't know. So I think they'll definitely have their alone time, their separate little reunion after an initial, hug or something, then they'll talk or something later, I'm assuming. But I don't think that'll be in Wintertown.
Yeah, no, I was thinking about it because I originally said in some videos or live streams or something that I did think that seeing Arya at Wintertown meant that we would get that separate scene. But now that I am thinking about it a bit more, I think it actually means, it still means that, but it means that it'll happen after. So let me explain this a little bit more. Yes, I think that Arya will just look at Jon and ride him past, and Jon will not see her because she's just in the middle of all the peasants and everyone. And then Jon is gonna get to Winterfell. He's gonna say hi to everyone there, reunite with whoever he needs to reunite with, and then Arya will come later, and that's how they're gonna have their separate.
Yeah, that makes sense. Everybody's looking at dragons anyway, and then she comes in behind the crowd, so to speak. So they show up. Sansa does the whole thing. Winterfell is yours, your grace. They have a little, drama starting already, and then Arya comes in behind, and then they'll have their separate little conversation somewhere.
Yeah, I like
Hopefully. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I was going to say, speaking of reunions, we also have Sam with Bran. Has not seen Bran since season 1.
Right. Oh my God.
And I mean, gave him a little kiss on the forehead. Hey, when you get out of here, I'm gonna show you beyond the wall and all this kind of stuff, foreshadowing that Bran would be beyond the wall. Didn't quite happen like he thought. So that's a big reunion, and of course, the big news has got to come at some point this year too.
Yes.
About what Bran knows.
Yes, and also I remember some people speculating about what if Jon never finds out, right? What if he's never told or something? There's always something in the way, and Bran and Sam can never get to it, and then the war starts and everything.
Please don't do this.
No,
please.
No. But Entertainment Weekly has revealed that Jon will know his true parentage, and yes, we still don't know who's gonna tell him or how they're gonna tell him, but we know for sure he's gonna find out.
Right, so you're referring to the article that says he's just now figuring out who he is and all this stuff, and then he gets hit by a sledgehammer.
Yes, yeah, exactly. They made that article and also made a little video where they were a bit more explicit about it.
We know that's going to happen. All right, so it's going to happen. He will find out he's Aegon. He'll never be called Aegon, whatever.
And I think that goes along the lines of him not really wanting to be a Targaryen either. I mean, he's even this past season 6 and season 7 were huge for Jon becoming a Stark, more of a Stark, not really a Stark yet, but more of a Stark. He's taking leadership of his family. He's protecting the family. It's just that bond is growing there right now for Jon. And of course, like he said in that article, that he knows who he is now. He knows his place. And then this is going to be a sledgehammer. And I don't think it's going to change much for him because of various reasons. I mean, one of them, let's start with a big one, which is what he told Theon, right? In season 7?
Exactly. Yes, that was exactly where I was going to say. Keep going.
That was huge. I mean, he told him, you can be both a Greyjoy and a Stark. I mean, you don't have to choose. And so I think that was a huge clue to what Jon is going to do, because he's got to follow his own advice, right?
Exactly. So that's exactly what that was, a setup for, once he goes through the process, because he will be pissed off for a minute. He's going to be mad at Ned, and he's going to run down to the crypts. Well, probably a lot of this will happen in the crypts, I'd imagine. But he's going to be like having to process this, why did you lie to me, all this kind of stuff. Then people will kind of reassure him, probably Bran and Sam. Sam, Bran specifically being able to see all this stuff.
Yeah.
And say, look, he did it to protect you. They were killing Targaryens, Robert's Rebellion, this whole thing. He'll come to accept it. We'll see how it affects their relationship, but he will come to accept it. But he'll never go by Aegon, and so he doesn't, like you said, he doesn't have to make that choice. He will accept eventually that's his father, but Lyanna's still his mother. And like you said, he's more of a Stark now than ever, because the Northern Lords didn't care. They voted him king in the North. So that's where the sledgehammer comes in.
Yeah, exactly. And also another thing that I wanted to add to that was remember when Stannis offered to turn him into a Stark, and he refused it. When he was talking to Sam about it, here's the actual line. I swore a vow to the Night's Watch. If I don't take my own word seriously, what sort of Lord of Winterfell would I be?
And kind of reinforcing that as well is last year with the whole, the man who passed the sentence to Shaween the sword. I've tried to live by those words, so he's really hyping up the idea, or foreshadowing the idea, that he needs to listen to himself when he finds out this news.
Yeah, exactly. And he's already been accepted as the king in the North. He can't just be like, switcheroo, freaking just, oh no, now I'm this, now I'm this, now I'm this. Like, no, he's got to stick to something.
Yeah, he can't be Aegon when it's convenient and Jon Snow when it's convenient. So yeah, I think he will. Now he will struggle with this. On to the next point, I think. This will cause a little rift between Jon and Dany. We'll talk about this a little bit in both videos, I suppose. A little rift there for a minute, and the way I see it going down is, he's moping around, and I almost think that scene in the trailer where Dany goes to him is when he tells her, or something similar to that anyway, because she'll be like, what the hell's wrong with you? You've been quiet and short and whatever.
Yeah.
You're home. What the hell's happening? And then he lays it on her, and then she, of course, has to process this whole thing too, where eventually we'll talk more about this in your video on about Dany, but she'll have to process the idea that maybe she wasn't born to come here and rule. So there'll be this whole little thing between them a little bit as well.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see when she finds out, because if Jon thinks that it's going to cause a huge problem and Dany needs to focus on other things, maybe he'll just keep it to himself until the end or something.
That may be a possibility. And it brings up the question about the trailer when they're walking out to the dragons. Does she know then? Are they taking a spin, on the dragons? A lot of people think they CGI'd them out of the trailer, and I agree. So I think she'll find out. But I don't know. I mean, it could just be a sunny day. I don't know, or just different parts. I know people thought it was further south. I think you had mentioned, Val, that it could have been in the Vale or something. I don't know, but still, it's they're obviously going out to the dragons not just to look at them. So
yeah,
they're not going to wash their cars, you know what I mean, and just rinse them off.
Wash their cars.
They're going to ride the damn thing.
Well, they may need a little washing around the back,
Maybe they'll put a fucking saddle on them this year, so you have to keep your crotch grinding on the back of. Anyway.
Well, and give the dragons some armor too. That'd be nice.
That's what I've been saying. Please tell me they do that in the battle, and not just maybe they left it out for the trailer. I don't know. I'm hoping.
Yeah, I don't know. But I mean, they didn't give Woon anything, so my hopes are low.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, he didn't even pick up a damn tree. I don't know what the hell. So.
Yes, no, I do think that it's the Vale. Like you're saying, I think it's too sunny to be the North, and I don't think they would show us any epilogue scenes at all in the trailer, even if they're out of context and we can't really tell if it's an epilogue scene.
No, and I don't think they'll have any reason to go beyond the wall either.
Right.
But yeah, that's certainly a possibility if there's some kind of thing they need to do there. Mm-hmm. Maybe that's part of the big third twist on what the Night King is and what he wants and how to kill him, whatever. So
I don't know. It's odd to just go just by themselves without like an army or anything, and
right. And the thing is, they're getting on the dragons when it's already sunny, so there's like they're already there.
Yeah.
They're leaving that location, so it doesn't make much sense.
Yeah. But yes, they're definitely getting on those dragons. I think it looked a lot like every time Danny has been about to ride Drogon, how he like, puts his head down kind of like that to let them climb on them.
Sticks his foot out in his wing.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so speaking of the whole, Targaryen thing, I think there will be some, Jon has always played mediator in every aspect of the show. And so I think there will be a little bit of drama and we'll talk more about this obviously in Dany, but Dany and Sansa, we've said this before in her video, they won't get along quite as well as Arya and Dany. So Jon's going to have to be that mediator again for, the first couple episodes to get Sansa on board with who she is and that type of stuff.
Yeah, I was thinking Tyrion could help a lot there as well, because he's got that connection with Sansa, and now he's got the connection with Dany. Jon is another guy who can definitely
that is true. That is true. Yeah, Tyrion does have the whole marriage thing.
Right. Little detail. But Jon, yeah. I mean, I definitely see Jon. I mean, Jon is going to have to explain to Sansa, because Sansa's been just pissed at Jon ever since he sent her that letter. It was like, I've bent the knee to Daenerys Targaryen. I am Warden of the North now,
Right.
Forget the king thing.
But I think they'll have a conversation like, what'd you do it for? Did you do it for because she's so hot? Or, you know what I mean? They're going to have that conversation of some sort. So yeah, Tyrion can certainly play a role, but Jon will have to he'll explain things like what she's done. She risked her life. Her dragon died to save him and everybody. She's seen the army of the dead, but then she'll have to prove it. And that'll probably be with a big battle at Winterfell. Oh, and they're going to have a kid.
Well, and I think that might be another reason why Jon doesn't say anything, because he finds out that she's pregnant before he can tell her, and then he's like, well, I can't tell her now.
Right, and I was going to ask you too, what do you think about this? So he finds out he's already said that he doesn't want a little bastard run around named Snow. So are they married when they get there? Before they find out, or did they run and get married after the fact they find out, even though there's an aunt-nephew thing going on?
That's a good point, yes, because that makes me think there's a lot of parallels with Robb. Robb and Jon were very similar.
Right.
So Robb immediately married Talisa when he knew she was pregnant.
Right, love is love. So, if you can go in front of a heart tree and do it really quick in the north somewhere, why not? So do they arrive married? Is that the question?
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah. Yikes.
What if?
So this is your new girlfriend, right? Bit more than that.
Well, yeah, we kind of moved past that phase.
Yeah,
I put a ring on it.
Yeah.
All right, so the next thing we need to bring up is we talked about this a little bit in the Sansa video. I think it kind of makes sense for Cersei to somehow get a hostage. And I know there was some speculation about the Golden Company coming up north or them falling back south. This is what I've been saying, is they'll have to fall back, obviously. Is it possible, what do you think, Val, is that Jon becomes a hostage to Cersei, and would he volunteer for that? Because it would make sense for Cersei to keep somebody close to her that Dany loves, and she can probably see that already, where Dany wouldn't attack her because, she's got all these things in her head about everybody's against her, it's not about saving the world. They're just going to burn King's Landing and House Lannister to the ground. So it kind of makes sense that he would volunteer for that.
Yeah, I think it could either be Tyrion's idea or Jon's idea for Jon to go, because obviously if Cersei is sending an army there, I have a strong feeling that it will be because she wants a hostage and not because she wants to kill everyone. Like, it makes a lot more sense to take something to guarantee her protection, because I can't believe that she didn't think of this before. I mean, something's definitely gonna make the Golden Company switch sides.
Yes.
They have to, right? I mean, it's already happened in the books. Who wants to fight for Cersei? I mean, she's definitely the losing side. But if Cersei gets her hand on Jon, I mean, that would change the game completely, right? If she can kill the king of the North at any second, you can't touch Cersei if she has that.
You can't bring dragon fire to the game, to the party. You can't, because she's got wildfire set up everywhere. So yeah, it would be literally him in chains or something right beside her the whole time, in the same room or something. I don't know. We'll see. I think it's a good possibility.
Yeah. We might be getting a bit out there, but I think it makes sense. Yeah. I need to bring up this thing that I recently heard from Maisie Williams during her Rolling Stones interview. She said that watching season 8 was very similar to watching season 1. So we know there's going to be a ton of parallels.
Yeah, interesting. I don't know, and it brings Jamie into the picture. I do think Jamie will, because they were talking about Jamie killing the king, the Mad King. I think Jamie will have a big role with John, going back to season 1 again, where he thanks him, sarcastically for joining the Night's Watch. He's essentially making fun of him, saying it's only for life, and now the irony is that Jamie will essentially be in the Night's Watch, as we said previously. So I think, and then it goes back to his book dream, his werewood book dream, where he dreams of Rhaegar and you didn't protect your king and all this stuff. And so now he has a chance to actually do so when he finds out who Jon is.
Oh yeah, and you guys remember also that scene with Jaime, which also happened in season 1, where he's talking to Jory, right? And he tries to give him a letter from Ned, and Jaime gets angry and he's like, I don't serve Lord Stark.
You will, motherfucker.
Yeah, you will serve
I didn't think
Lord
about
Stark.
That makes sense. Yeah, I don't serve Lord Stark, which is saying, yes, I will serve Lord Stark. Good catch.
I don't know, I always feel like I'm reading too much into these, but there's some lines that anything could be foreshadowing, okay? And I get accused a lot of saying, oh, well, everything is foreshadowing about... No, everything can be foreshadowing, okay? There's the difference.
Well, everything is for...
And I think this other line might have something in it, when Jon and Tyrion are saying goodbye to each other on the wall, and Jon is sad to see him go. He's like, sad to see you go, Lannister. That might be foreshadowing that he will go.
Oh no, don't tell me that.
And also Tyrion says it's either me or this cold, and it doesn't seem to be going anywhere. Is he talking about the Night King and his army?
Damn, Val,
so
why are you saying all this? That got me rethinking everything.
I might be going a bit too far, but who knows, guys?
Not everything is foreshadowing, Val.
Not everything is foreshadowing.
So what do we think? Do we think that Jon will, in fact, fulfill the role of king at some point? Will he ultimately live and be King Aegon Targaryen? Here's what I think. I think it's possible that he could be for a short period of time. Or him and Dany, co-rule, assuming they both live. And, maybe they split up the kingdoms again to 7 kingdoms where, because we already see that Dany's willing to let Yara be the queen of the Iron Islands. So maybe they just rule the Crownlands, or maybe they're back in Winterfell and Sansa is in the Crownlands or whatever, because we talk about the more beautiful queen there. So ultimately, does he become Aegon as far as a king for a short period of time before things start to change? Is that thrust upon him like everything else has been, including, Lord Commander of the Night's Watch? And I've always said this, I've been saying this for years now, I just got to throw it in here. Jon or Dany, I think, in relation to all this change, and again, we won't see everything, it won't be overnight. It'll be a hint, a dream of spring. But we got to get rid of feudalism, right? That's what this all is about, essentially. I've been saying they will, in parallels with Aegon the Conqueror, melt down the Iron Throne. So it could be Dany, it could be Jon, or both. Have it complete that circle with Aegon the Conqueror, with the new Aegon melting the Iron Throne, the symbol of all this patriarchy and feudalism and all the shit going on in this old style world.
Breaking the wheel.
Breaking the wheel. Thank you.
Yeah.
I could have just said breaking the wheel and probably not stumbled on for 5 minutes. And they probably would have gotten what I meant.
I also really want to see Jon as king. I'm thinking actually here about Dany and how I don't think she will sit on the Iron Throne, and we will talk about this in the other video.
Yes.
I still think of what I said in my epilogue clues video, I believe I said it there, that there is a big possibility that Jon and Dany decide to just F off. They're done with everything. They've fought all their battles. They do not want the power because Dany has, again, we'll talk about this later, I don't want to get too much into it, but Dany will know that Jon is a Targaryen, Jon is the rightful heir, and Dany will probably not want to take it from him because they're in love. They're going to be like, hey, it's yours, and then he's going to be like, no, it's yours, and then she's going to be like, no, it's yours.
Fuck you, nah.
They might just be like, let's just not do it. Let's just go and have a happy life, which is all that we've ever wanted with our new kid.
I think that's a real possibility. possibility is something like that. And again, kind of going back to what I was saying, maybe for a time, but I don't think it'll be a forever thing where they split up the kingdoms and like Danny did in Marine, people vote on their leaders. And that'll be different in every kingdom, I guess, for a while. And we don't need to see all that change. We just need to see that it is going to change. So I think that's a possibility for sure.
Well, and also what we were saying earlier in this same video, that Jon might just remain as Stark. I think he might actually, like, create his own new house, basically. Like, he might merge, like, the Stark and the Targaryen.
Stargaryen, like everybody, yeah. We've mentioned that before.
Yeah, exactly. He might do that, and he might just stay in the north because that's where he was named king. That's where people want him to be. Like, people did not ask him to be king of the Seven Kingdoms. So I think there's a big possibility that Jon, if he remains alive, he will go back to Winterfell and stay there.
At least not King's Landing, because he specifically said, "Who would ever want to live here with 1 million people around you?" You know, so he's more of a country boy. You know, like I can identify with that. He don't want to live in a city. The bunch of the concrete jungle.
Yeah.
He wants to be out away where you can't see your neighbor's house.
Yeah.
I get it, Jon. I get it. So.
Yeah, exactly. But we gotta remember there's still a huge possibility that Jon dies. Hey, it could still happen.
It could. I ultimately think that Jon will live. And the reason I say that because we have to keep in mind that everything that's been thrust upon him, he'll have to bear this other stuff and all the lost loved ones again. And I don't know. I can't see him being resurrected and then dying again. But it's certainly a possibility. I don't think you have to kill Jon and Danny, for that matter, to make this a horrible ending. You know what I mean? As far as the bitter part of the bit.
That's a good point.
But what I want to get to before we get out of here really quick is, all right, what's got to go on? What is the purpose of Jon being the Song of Ice and Fire? He is Targaryen and Stark. He is Valyrian and First Man. All that good stuff. So what does that actually mean? Is there some kind of magical ending for him in regards to killing the Night King? Otherwise, what's the point? Was it just a story about a bastard who became Lord Commander and King in the North or all that? Or do we have to see him use his magical blood in some way? And what if... will we get an unburnt moment for Jon? Could it involve would that be the same scene? Magical blood, but he's not burnt? I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there in the ether.
Yeah, I mean, that's tough because we have seen Jon burn his hand before, so we know he's not immune to fire. But will they treat it like George said he did in the books with Danny, which was supposed to be a one-time special occasion immunity to fire that Danny had, which in the show they turned into a constant thing for Danny?
Well, I don't know, but remember, she burned her hands too, in the books and show. She did have the wraps on her hands after riding Drogon out of Daznak's pit, so she did burn her hands in parallel with Jon.
Does she always have to commit a sacrifice for it to work? I don't know.
That's what I was thinking, like, he gets locked in somewhere with the Night King and says, burn this motherfucker down, and he's expecting to die, but he don't. Something like that. I don't know, something that his bloodline allows him to survive or kill the Night King in some way. Otherwise, I just don't see a point in all this RLJ stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, there's a prince that was promised. He's the prince that was promised, but it has to do with the fact that there's ice and fire in him. So what does that mean? I mean, he could just be the prince that was promised without that. There's got to be something about his blood that's special, like you're saying. Yeah, so.
Anyway, ultimately, I think my final call here is that Jon will live in order to bear this burden. Beric even told him last year, we won't have much joy while we're here. So I don't know if that meant, temporarily for Beric. I expect him to go. But Jon, I just imagine him, with all the horror that has to happen to win this war, I think he has to live and bear it instead of just finding out and dying. It wouldn't make a lot of narrative sense for him to find out who he is and never get to explore that. You know what I mean? So anyway.
Damn it, Chris, I already made some predictions about this in my, pool of dragons, whatever. I'm gonna get these wrong. I am so gonna get these wrong now.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
Jon and Danny were gonna die, man. I don't know. I was so sure, and now you're changing my mind.
Oh, so well, at least it's a good argument then. If you're if you're starting to come over to the dark side.
Yeah, it makes sense for Jon to have to go through all of this and finding out he's a Targaryen and all that, for him to die again. I mean, but the thing is, there's a big theme of giving your life for a cause. There's a big theme of that in Jon. And in Jon's
no doubt
character arc. So I don't know. I mean, it's still and Danny. There's foreshadowing for Danny to die as well, to commit a sacrifice, and I just You know,
it really is a coin flip. It really, but the more I think about it, I just think he has to bear that burden. And it's almost like when he told Melisandre the tent before the Battle of the Bastards, if I go down, don't bring me back, you know. And it's like he's kind of cursed to be alive after this whole thing, is in a way.
Well, I mean, and just quickly to remind you guys of also a line from Melisandre and Jon when they were talking before the Battle of the Bastards. Melisandre said, "I don't know, maybe you're only needed for this small part of his plan and nothing else. Maybe he brought you here to die again." And then Jon Snow is like, what kind of god would do something like that? And Melisandre's the one we've got.
That is true. That is true. It can go both ways. It really is. For Jon and Dany, it's the toughest two for me to decide on life or death as far as surviving this whole thing. It's really a coin flip. This is exactly what we're going to do. We're going to flip a coin. Heads is alive. Tails is death.
I have a skull on this one. So the skull will be the death. I don't know if you can see that.
Oh, man, you got a cool coin. I just grabbed a damn quarter. I could have grabbed my Valar Morghulis shit. 3, 2, 1. He is going to
He's
live.
going to live. Holy sh!
Oh, we got it both. Oh, that's out of focus. But
You
yes,
focus on
okay. Yeah, I don't know if they can't see.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Focus. Yeah.
There we go.
This is.
He is going to live.
Holy
Both
shit.
of us. That's it.
Holy.
You could take that shit to the bank. I mean, that's just.
Dude, no, completely confirmed. You know, that wouldn't happen otherwise.
Absolutely confirmed. Yeah, I mean, what's the chances, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's 50-50 in 2 different countries right now.
Yeah.
So it makes it like a 25% chance. I don't know what the hell it is. Anyway, he's going to live. Yeah. Jon Snow will live to bear the burden of all this shit that goes down.
And I'm going to have to admit that I was wrong.
And you're going to lose your
I'm going to
pool
use
thing.
my pool. Yeah, lose it. Fuck.
Alrighty, so anyway, Val, thank you for coming back, as usual. I think this will probably be our last set of predictions. I think we're running out of time. I'm not sure, though. We'll see.
Yeah.
Because we probably have another trailer coming very soon.
Yeah, we'll see what we can do.
So yes, anyway, now what you have to do, you have to go to Val's channel if you hadn't already and watch the Dany video. So we did Jon and Dany, released at the same time as usual. And I think we both have playlists where all these videos are in the same playlist, regardless of which channel it's on. So just go to the playlist and watch the whole damn thing. Anyway, as usual, thank you for all the support, especially to you guys on Patreon. And if you dig what I do here, please give these videos a like, comment, and share. Be sure to subscribe to get everything and click that damn notification bell twice so you're notified when I drop a new video. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.